education you can get from anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Knowledge you cannot get.
Yeah.
That was the difference of Henry Ford. That was the difference of the guy who was 3 inches away from the gold.
Hmm.
That was the difference of all these people. Henry Ford was once asked. He was in a courtroom. They had called him for a trial, and he
Hmm.
was asked, tell us how many people in that army went there, or what was the numbers
Yeah.
of that army.
Because he was someone told him that he was ignorant, right? And he
Ignorant,
had
yeah,
to
exactly.
testify that he wasn't.
He
Yeah.
wasn't, right? So they kept on asking him, and then he said, "You know what? All this information I can just get in a minute on a phone call. I don't need to get this. Remember these information. This is all numbers. Exactly
Everyone has this
this
nowadays.
nowadays. But what I have is the knowledge.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have the knowledge how to build the best car in the world, and the best
Yeah.
we did at that time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, definitely. And nowadays, I think that's really true what you're saying, because nowadays anyone has Google at the tips of their fingers,
Yeah,
so they can get most all information at the tips of their fingers. But not being ignorant also means is that you don't just be a sponge to all the information that is out there, but you actually learn to understand what information is valuable and what isn't. Because if you start reading on the internet and just believing everything, you'll probably be far away from getting somewhere. Because there's a lot of stuff on the internet also that's not true.
not true.
So I think that's more of a skill that you learn,
Hmm.
how to sift through what is right for you. Like I think both of us did. We both
Yeah.
went straight for Richard Bandler when we wanted to learn NLP. We both, I immediately saw, have our certificates at the back,
Yeah, we have as well.
our Richard's autographs.
All
I
around.
still have I still have his new book here.
I love reading it, by the way. This is, yeah, same here. I'm
Yeah.
enjoying this book. I'm practicing this book on my children every day, by the way.
Ah, good. But it's the I think the point is that what I started to do when I want to learn NLP is that I started to go around the Netherlands and I started to go through workshops and meeting different trainers. And I saw that most of them, because I had already watched a lot of videos of Richard and of Tony Robbins, for instance. Tony doesn't do NLP, obviously, or not that as much. So my standard was very high. And then I started meeting all these Dutch trainers, and I was like, I'm not sure if they're really well practiced in NLP. And now, years later, I know they're not, many of them. So I think it's good to understand to whom you're going if you want to learn NLP. Most people, I had a lady on the phone that wanted to do my course. And one of the first things I told to her was, why are you not just going for Richard in London? Why don't you just go to London? Because she has to have a good reason to want to go to me instead of to Richard, because I think she should go to Richard first.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't want to travel, and then it's fine if they want to learn it from me. But I still think that Richard's better than I am at doing all those things. So I think it's good to be a bit critical of who you're learning from, because you can just Google what NLP is on Wikipedia, but I think you won't have as much and as much of a depth of understanding as if you spend a week with you, for instance. You're very knowledgeable on NLP, or with any of the other trainers that are well taught in NLP. Yeah.
I think it is more of because what I have understood about NLP is not about education, is not even about knowledge. It is more of an
Yeah.
experience. Because when
Hmm.
you learn from, I actually bought a couple of online courses just to
Hmm.
see how different online courses are run. So I thought I will also make a course of my own.
Yeah.
And after doing 2 3 different online courses, I have scrapped the idea of making an online course. You know why?
Very good.
Because
Yeah.
it's an experience.
Yeah.
You can't do
And you
that.
have to be dang good at making an online course if you want them to get the full experience. But they won't. Something I'm still contemplating on doing is because I'm making a few exercise books for the people in the Netherlands, so they have kind of a standard to exercise by, like to go back to those books that I'm creating for them. But I'm thinking of still maybe if they buy enough of those books, to give them a free course or a free weekend with them. Because if they come to me or to you or to any qualified trainer and they spend some time with them, the amount of learning that you can do in those 3 hours
Yeah.
far exceeds maybe 40 hours of self-study. And it has to do also with the famous story I think Steve Andreas wrote in the beginning of Frogs into Princes, right? One of those first NLP books.
Yeah.
You probably know the story where there's this big factory, and it's this big long-winded story about this factory producing stuff for millions every day, and then it breaks down, and it's broken down for a few days, and they're losing money by the bucket loads. And they get in this expert, and this expert comes in, walks around for less than an hour, takes this wrench and just bam, whacks on one of the pipes, and the entire factory starts working again. And then he bills them for like $10,000 or something. Yeah. And this factory guy, he says like, you were only here for an hour. Why did you bill us for $10,000? Please state where that $10,000 is for. So he makes the bill again, and he says like, $100 for my time and $9,900 for knowing where to tap.
Exactly.
Yeah, and also doing it, because I like this difference between knowledge and knowledge applied, which I think is much more important. Is I have this friend, and he has his brother is really he studies at this technical university in the Netherlands. I think he already studied close to 10 years now, and he's still not done. But he's doing some great stuff. He's producing new batteries, so that's good, like for the Teslas and stuff like that. Yeah. But they were driving home from a holiday, and one of the lamps at the front of the car was broken, and he and his buddy spent the entire 7-hour trip back home contemplating on what might be wrong with the lamp and how they might fix it. And then their younger brother, who was like this practical guy, he stopped school after he was 16. When they got home, he just got out of the car and fixed the lamp within 5 minutes. And it was like, and then you can think, or maybe he even did it in the gas station along the way, and those guys were still talking about it after. But you know, this is the difference. You don't even have to have that much knowledge if the knowledge you have is pure and you actually apply it.